The riding modes are very interesting because they do vary throttle response more than anything else. There is a variation therefore in the fuel economy that you can get also, and the band, if I remember correctly, is between 6 and 9, I think 6 kilometers per liter, where the bottom mode, eco, gives you about 6 kilometers per liter in the real world, more than the top mode will give you. But the primary difference is throttle response, and there is a substantial difference in throttle response. So it's not like if I close your eyes and put in a mode, you will not be able to identify which one it is. That much difference is there. In power mode, it feels a little bit more energetic, and in eco mode, it feels a little bit sleepy. And that is also how the cruise control will feel. For example, if you set the speed up and you're in power mode, it gains that speed pretty rapidly, versus eco mode where it gains glacially. The problem is, because of the emissions and all of that and how lean this thing is running, on-off throttle transitions are extremely jerky. Most obvious in power mode where the torque variation is higher, less obvious in eco mode. So on Nahargarh, where there are blind and long corners, so you're basically in a place where you're leaned over and you're trying to see if I can open the throttle or not, and you're not sure because you can't see the road. I know the curve, but I don't know if there's traffic there, right? In that situation, you're basically rolling on and rolling off slightly, and that whole bike jerks.
It has a shunt kind of thing?
Yeah. So it sort of picks up and then you roll off and then it sort of, so there is a lot of movement there, which I don't know if they can iron out a lot, because we've seen a lot of the BS62 bikes do this. On this bike, in that situation, it felt particularly bad. But in eco mode, it's not so bad. In road mode, it's not so bad. But here's the kicker. Will you actually use the riding modes is actually a question. Because when you switch off this bike and switch it back on, it goes back to being in road mode, which is not a bad mode to be in. But if you prefer eco mode, for example, you will have to manually select eco mode every single time.
And how easy is it to
And it's
switch?
just a button. I mean, it's not a...
There's a separate...
There's a separate mode button.
Okay.
So it's not a crisis. But what Hero said is very interesting. Hero says, no, we can't give you the memory for the mode because it's a legal requirement for it to return to the same mode. So how does KTM do it? My bike remembers what mode I left it in.
Because what I remember is that the fuel efficiency tests are done on the default mode. So whatever
That's
the
fine.
default mode is.
That's fine. But the default mode is not eco. It's road.
In the Glamour. Which might be okay, which is fine. But KTM, you're saying it doesn't default back to this thing.
No, it stays where you left it. So I don't know what the legal thing on this is, but this bike will default to the middle mode every single time you switch it off. So if you prefer power mode, you're going to have to make a mode change every single time. If you prefer eco mode, you're also going to have to make a mode change every single time you start the bike. So I'm not convinced that people will actually use these riding modes on a regular basis outside of a very small percentage of people.
Who do you think is supposed to be buying this?
I'll come to that. Because that is a very juicy part of this thing. I just want to get over with the bike because the rest of it is really juicy.
Okay, chal, go.
Right? And therefore, that is the riding mode, etc. Then the panic brake blinkers, I said, how are you sensing it? This is not an ABS bike. There is no speed sensor. How the hell are you doing it? So they said that...
I am you. Sorry.
IJU, Indian Jugaad Unit. No, so they are saying that between the brake pressure sensor and how fast the RPMs drop when you're panic braking, they can calculate the fact that you're in that kind of a situation, deduce deceleration as it were, and then when it goes past the threshold, turn on all the indicators, which by law are required to blink faster than a normal indication. So they've worked all of this out. So in that sense, what you have to understand is good commuter, sure. Comfortable, yeah, close enough. And packed to the gills with features which are more to do with attracting you to buy one than to make your life any simpler. Are many of these features poorly executed? No. They have put in the work into it. But will they fundamentally change your commuting experience? No. In that sense, the glamour and beauty definition is exactly right. They've taken a motorcycle which is reasonably good, and using what it is, they've turned it up to feel more alluring and attractive to bring customers.
Glamour X.
That is a clip from MotorInc. And what that means is, if you'd like to see more of these, you can do two things. One is stay on this channel, subscribe and watch more, or you can come to the main MotorInc channel where you'll find a much longer video that discusses this idea in a lot more detail.